ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಂವರ್ಧನಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡಯಟ್ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಲರ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಸಹಯೋಗದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿರುವ ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ಶಾಲಾ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ತರಬೇತಿಗಳು ಶುರುವಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಾವು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಭಾಷೆಗೆ ವಿಷಯ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ಎರಡನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗಲಿದೆ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಲಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರು ಡಯಟ್ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಕಾಟ್ಲಿಂಗಪ್ಪ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ನುಡಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ದಿನದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ಸುಗಮಕಾರರ ತಂಡವನ್ನು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ಶಾಲಾ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ತರಬೇತಿಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಡಯಟ್ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಲರ್ NGO ಇವರ ಸಂಯುಕ್ತ ಆಶ್ರಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆತಿರುವಂತಹ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಡಯಟ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ YN ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಡಯಟ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ತುಮಕೂರು ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಂಜಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ ವರ್ಗದವರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶ್ರಮಿಕ ವರ್ಗದವರಿಗೂ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಮತ್ತು ಯಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಹುಲಿ, ಧಾತ್ರಿ ಮೊದಲಾದವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಶ್ರಮವಹಿಸಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಎರಡನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ನ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಗಮಿಸತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಸ್ವಪ್ನಾ ಜಿಎ ಇವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾ ಎನ್, ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಆಶಾ ರಾಮನ್, ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಮೀರಿಯಾ ರಶ್ಮಿ ಇವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಕೋರುತ್ತಾ ಈ ತರಬೇತಿಯ ಸದುಪಯೋಗವನ್ನ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಲಾ ಕೋಣೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಅನುಕೂಲವಾದಂಥ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಯಾರೊಬ್ಬರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚೀಚೆ ಹೋಗದೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ತರಬೇತಿಯ ಸದುಪಯೋಗವನ್ನ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಇದರ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಸಹಕರಿಸ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸುತ್ತಾ ಈಗ ವೇದಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನವರೆಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಸೊ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಎರಡನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ನ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬನ್ನಿ ನೋಡೋಣ.
Good morning, Asha.
Good morning, Prajna. Where are you off to?
To the cluster sharing meeting. What about you?
Me too, Prajna. I think we have started. Let us hurry up.
Yeah, looks it's already started. Come fast.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Asha from Caring with Color. To start this session, we want to start it on a lighter note. Take a look at this video. Do not worry if you do not hear anything. The audio for this video has been switched off. Just look at this chimpanzee. Isn't he cute?
He's so cute, Asha.
Yes, he is. Look at the way he communicates, Prajna. He gets anything he wants. Look at that. He's getting his juice. He gets his food. And all without the use of any words. Which makes me think, we as human beings cannot communicate without words, can we? Without a language? And when we talk about languages, all of us view the language English differently, don't we? Some of us find it easy, some of us find it difficult, but all of us will agree that it can be complicated. Today's webinar is about English and some of the aspects of English and how it can be transacted in the classroom. But before we move on, look at him. Which brings another thought in my mind. When you talk about English, or any language for the matter, does grammar really matter in that context? What do you think, Pragna?
I think better we ask this question to all our audience friends.
I totally agree. We have a lot of people here. All of you are very, very experienced. So I'm placing this question to all of you. In the context of a language, do you think for language learning, does grammar really matter? Would you agree as yes or no? Again, before we move forward, I'll say there is no right or wrong answer for this question. Please place your answer in the chat box. For language learning, does grammar really matter?
Asha, some of our friends are saying yes and some of us saying no.
There is bound to be a difference of opinion, Pragna. What do you think?
I think it's essential. I personally think that for language learning, grammar really matters. So again, this is my opinion. So let us see.
I also agree. I wonder what our friends are saying, but I do think grammar is one of the basic aspects which must be learned to produce and arrange words into sentences. We actually unconsciously use grammar all the time when we use a language for speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And when you, especially when you study a language, when you learn a language, the first thing we essentially study about are the rules or the basics of the language, right? So if we want to improve our English language abilities, there is no escape from addressing grammar issues. Don't you agree?
Yes, Asha. So let us study then.
Let us look at the topics for the day for a start. Yesterday's module, all of you went through subject-verb agreement, and along with that, you also looked at tenses. Today, we are going to be more specific. We are looking at present continuous tense, the simple present tense, WH words and WH questions, and a very interesting topic, homophones. Before we actually get into the session, there is one other thing I want to say. The base of any language, if you look at, rests in its words. And if you look at it in the form of a tree, you will find the words form the base of the tree. Now, words can be of different kinds. There are nouns, there are adjectives, there are adverbs, verbs, prepositions. There are so many different kinds of words. And when all these words come together meaningfully, they form sentences. And when sentences form, communication happens in any language.
As Asha rightly said, that a group of words coming together to make sense makes a complete sentence. Apart from that, we need to keep in mind that a complete sentence should start with a capital letter, should have a subject, a predicate, and should end with a punctuation mark. Let's look at a few examples. Here we see the train is crossing the plains. Here the subject is the train. We can see T is capital because it starts the sentence. Is crossing is the verb and the plains is the predicate and it ends with a full stop. Can someone give me an example here of a sentence?
She is dancing on the stage.
Excellent, Swapna. Thank you so much. Moving forward.
That brings us to a very interesting chat box question. Please put your answers for this one in the chat box. The shortest grammatically correct sentence in the English language is A, go, B, hi, C, bye, or D, hello. I request all our teacher participants to please put your answer in the chat box. Which one of these is the correct option?
Our teacher friends have started answering in the chat box, and some are saying hi, some are saying go. And for hello also some responses are there. Let us wait for a few more seconds. But most of the answers are for go, option A. So teacher friends are saying go is the shortest grammatically correct sentence here. Most of the teacher friends are saying go. In between, one or two I saw for hi.
I would like to tell our teacher friends that A is the correct answer. Go is the shortest grammatically correct sentence in the English language. Now, you might question why hi cannot be the shortest grammatically correct sentence. But if you look at go, G is in capitals. It has a terminating punctuation mark, which is an exclamation mark. So this is an imperative sentence. So in an imperative sentence, normally when a sentence is written in an imperative mode, the subject for that sentence is assumed and omitted from the sentence. So generally, this would be as you go in the context. But when it is written only as go. Such sentences are known as elliptical sentences. So telling you all, A is the correct answer.
Moving on to tenses. We were introduced to tenses yesterday. So what exactly are tenses? Basically, tenses play a very crucial role in any language. It talks about actions that take place in the present, that took place in the past, and the activities or actions that will take place in the future. Let's look at one of the tenses. Can someone tell me what is happening here?
The pages of the book are flipping.
Yes. So the pages are turning or flipping at the very moment as we speak. So this is the present continuous tense. And this is used to express the things or the actions that are happening at the time of speaking or at the present moment. We will look at a few more examples. What do we see here? We see that there's a phone on the sofa, and the phone on the sofa is ringing. And now we are all attending this webinar. While we are attending this webinar, the teddy bears are playing on the seesaw.
Which brings us to the first poll question of the day. Read the sentences below and pick the incorrect one. I want to remind you, the incorrect sentence is the correct answer in this set of options. Yes, the correct answer is the option B, because if you remember, I said the incorrect sentence is the correct answer for this poll question. And why is it incorrect? It is because there is a subject-verb disagreement in this sentence. It says, I is always reading medical books, and it should be, I am always reading medical books. Shall we try one more poll question?
Sure, Asha.
Read the sentences below and pick the incorrect one. Again, the incorrect sentence is the correct answer here. You have options A, B, C, and D. Enter your option in the poll question window when it appears and click on submit to submit your answer. Please do not answer in the chat box. Your answer does not get registered if you answer in the chat box. Your options are, he is always watching his watch. I'm trying to forget all about this. I'm having my hair done once a month, and we is visit the museum today. Yes, D is the correct answer. Awesome response, everyone. Thank you very much. And why is it the right answer? Again, there is a subject verb disagreement, and it is not in the present continuous tense. So it should be, we are visiting the museum today.
Let me introduce you to my friend here.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Sudha.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Sudha. I live in Bengaluru. This is my house. Come join me in my house this evening with all your friends. And this is our house. I am in the hall now. I am going to the kitchen. My mother is there. She is making dinner. I am very hungry. This is my mother. She is cooking dinner. Hi, Amma. Is dinner ready?
Yes, Sudha, dinner is ready. Please call your father for dinner.
This is my cat, Subramani. He is sleeping. Wake up, Subramani. Appa is watching TV. Appa, dinner is ready.
Okay, Sudha, I am coming.
Okay, so that was Sudha. She still continues to talk to you. Look at the pictures of my house. How many sentences in present continuous tense can you identify? Is it A6? Is it B5? Is it C3? Or is it D? None. Remember, we make the present continuous by using the present simple of be, the verb with an ing, as in is, cook plus ing, mother is cooking.
Here in this picture, let's see how many sentences are in present continuous tense. Let's go one by one. Here, first one, I am going to the kitchen. She is making dinner. She is cooking dinner. He is sleeping. Appa is watching TV. I am coming. Here, 6 sentences are in present continuous tense. We can use this type of examples in our daily classroom transactions.
Absolutely right, Swapna. We can create many such pictures, or you can take printouts of pictures that are already available and use it for classroom transactions.
Moving forward to simple present tense. Now, simple present tense is used when you want to tell about things that happen continually in the present, like every day, every week, every month. So like simple present tense is used to talk about habits, general truths, unchanging situations, and it's also used to give instructions. Let's look at a few examples for each. Now, habits like I sleep at 10 p.m. every day, I exercise, or I brush my teeth. Can I have another example here?
I wake up at 5 o'clock every day.
Wow, Pradnya, that's an excellent habit.
Sorry, Maria. Actually, I wake up at 7 o'clock every day.
Oh, haven't you heard the saying? Early to bed and early to rise will make Pradnya healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Sure, Maria. I'll try to.
Moving forward, we have general truths like Bengaluru is a metropolitan city. Pradnya, can I have another example, please?
Sun rises in the east.
Very good. Then we have unchanging situations like Delhi is a large city. Can I have another example here, please?
Bengaluru is our capital city of Karnataka.
Oh, Namma Bengaluru. Now, giving instructions. Now, all of us teachers here love to give instructions throughout the day. For example, come in, sit down, open your books, turn your pages to 72, turn your books to page 72, and so on. Here we can see a teacher probably giving directions to go to the library. So she is telling, go straight and turn left. Can I have another set of instruction here?
Look at the words below and choose the correct sequence to form a sentence. There are a set of words, one in each box given with unique identifying numbers. Form a sentence with these words, and the correct option is A, which is they live in a big house, and it has a terminating punctuation mark, the full stop. Let us look at one more of this kind, shall we? We'll up the game a bit. There will be more number of words in the next one. And here is the question. Look at the words below and choose the correct sequence to form a sentence. Again, you have a set of words. There are more words in the sentence. Form your sentence. Choose your correct sequence. The correct answer is option B, as in she goes to the market almost every day, ending with a terminating punctuation mark.
Now, let's move on to simple present tense spelling rules in third person singular. In simple present tense, most regular verbs use root forms except in third person singular. Here, some rules are there. Now let us know the rules. Here is the first rule. Add yes to most verbs. Here, shut becomes shuts. Love, loves. Stop, stops. Dance, dances. Here in the example, he shuts the door before going to work. Next, in the second rule, we have to add es to verbs ending in sh, ch, yes, x, and z. Here, wash becomes washes, teach, teaches, dress, dresses, relax, relaxes, and buzz becomes buzzes. In the example, it washes many clothes at once. And in another example, she teaches me at home. Now, let's move on to third rule. Here, we have to change Y to I and add es to verbs ending in consonant plus Y. Here, carry becomes carries, copy, copies, study, studies. And here in the example, he carries luggage at the railway station. My friend studies hard using many books. And for oval plus y, we have to add simply yes, like he plays cricket.
I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. Now, these are the words of a very famous author, Rudyard Kipling, from his book Just So Stories, written back in 1902. Now, I'm sure most of you know this author, Rudyard Kipling, and his famous work.
Oh, the famous writer of the Jungle Book.
Absolutely. So, this brings us to the next topic for today, the WH questions.
Here, what, why, when, how, where, and who. Here, these question words begin with WH letters. So we call them as WH questions except how. Who is this?
He is a gardener.
What is he doing?
He is watering the plant.
Where does the gardener work?
He works in the garden.
Why is he watering the plants?
Plants need water to live.
When does he do it?
He waters the plant every day.
And how is the plant growing?
It is growing very fast.
Now let's know about the questions words, how we use these questions while making questions. Here, who is used to indicate a person, as in who is watering the plants. What is used to ask about a thing or an action, as in what is he doing. And where indicates a place, as in where does he work. And why, of course, is used to indicate a reason why do plants need water. When asks about the time. When does he water the plants? And how is used in asking for the amount or the way. How is the plant growing?
Which brings us to the next chat box question. This is a very interesting question, dear participants. Please read the story and you will find there are some sentences in the story that are underlined. What you need to do is to frame questions for those sentences and put it in the chat box. Our only condition to you is that you begin your question with WH words only. Right? So shall we read the story? A police officer stopped a car. There were 4 old ladies in the car. The old lady driving asked the police officer, I was driving slow at 30 kilometers an hour as given on the board. Why did you stop me? The police officer told her, ma'am, on the highway, driving too slow is also a danger. Besides, 30 is the national highway number, not the speed limit, he added with a smile. Then he asked, Are you all okay? The other ladies look all shaken up and scared. The old lady smiled and said, "They will be all right in a few minutes. We just got off the national highway number 199. This is a very interesting granny. She has been driving the car at 199 kilometers an hour. Amazing, isn't she? Now, for all of you, our question is, you see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences that are underlined. We want you to frame questions for these sentences and put them in the chat box. If you want, you can take all the sentences and frame questions, or you can choose one of them and frame questions, put them in the chat box. Our only condition is you have to begin your question with WH words only. What you saw just now, only use WH words to start the question.
Answers are coming in the chat box now, Asha. I personally find framing questions is difficult than finding answers, isn't it?
Actually, not true, Pragya. It's a little bit of a challenge, but that is the idea, right?
Mhm.
That you look at these sentences and see how can you frame a question for them. Only when you get challenged, you make an attempt. And only when you make an attempt, you learn a language. In this way, you can actually use different stories, you can use poems, you can use anything, a paragraph, and have the children in the classroom frame questions. Children like a challenge. They will find it interesting. Why don't you also try? Try for the last sentence, no? We just got off the national highway number 199 for that one.
What was the number of the national highway?
Nice.
And we are getting so many answers in the chat box, like who stopped the car is the common, everyone is giving that one. And let us see a few more. Who stopped the car is the common answer. I am getting a common question for everyone is answering that one. So let us have a few more responses. Yeah. Okay, someone has answered, framed a question. What the police asked, okay. How many old ladies were there in the car? A nice question. Thank you.
You could also frame questions like, who looked shaken up and scared? How did the ladies look? What is 30?
What was the highway number? Okay, someone has framed a question in the chat box. What is the speed of the vehicle on the highway? Okay, Savita madam is framing that question. Okay, Gayatri is asking what was the highway number?
Nice. Thank you, teachers, for participating. Now let's move on. Here is a straightforward, simple question for you. Again, this is a chat box question. You have dash, do you take English class? There are 4 WH words here as options. Choose the correct option. Since there is an answer, Y is the correct option for this question.
Now we'll see some of the classroom activities for the WH question words. So here we have an interesting game and I need someone to play with me.
Can I play with you?
Yeah, of course, Maria. So here we have a list of WH question words and all the WH question words are listed here. And I'll frame a question. Answer to that question also, you need to frame another question. Like, ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡೋವಾಗನು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ. Just it's a try. There is no right or wrong here. So for example, I'll ask you one question, Maria. So who is your best friend?
Preeti is my best friend.
So Preeti is your answer. So now I want you to frame a question including the word Preeti and using a different WH question word.
Where is Preeti?
Okay, you got it right. So Preeti is your best friend, not me.
You are special, Pradnya.
Thank you. So let me ask one more question now. What color is your toothbrush?
Why do most of the girls like pink?
Okay, you too like pink, it means. So next time if something I am buying for you means I'll get pink color. Which is your favorite color? Why leaves are green? Nice one. Means green is their favorite color. This was just a demonstration. We have one more activity now. So this is also a classroom transaction activity. And we have a chart here and parts of the house are named here just to make it easy for the child to understand. So for example, so living room, bedroom, mudroom, garage, basement, kitchen, all the parts are named here. And some of the household articles are also listed. So we have lamp, bathtub, refrigerator, sink, computer, television, and so on. So now we'll tell the child or someone to use the where question word and just frame a question. So for examples, it's very easy. It can be played with 4th or 5th grade students. So I'll frame a question now. Where is the car?
It is in the garage.
Okay. So likewise, where is the refrigerator?
The refrigerator is in the kitchen.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a chat response here. Where do you place the lamp? Okay, nice question. How many refrigerators are there in the kitchen? Yeah. Which is your favorite room? So nice one. So now we'll move on to another activity. I need a dice for this. I think Maria is having.
I have a red dice.
Okay, thank you, Maria. We'll play a game again. Okay. So now I'll roll the dice and then I'll explain you. Okay, I'm rolling the dice now and I got number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Vacation.
Okay, vacation is my word and I'm pairing it with where question word. I'm choosing where question word from the inside list and from the outside list I'm choosing vacation word. So now I'll frame a question out of using these two words. So where are you planning for the vacation?
Very good. Now it's my turn. I've rolled the dice and I've got 3.
Okay, then pets is your word and use any WH question word from the inside box and frame a question.
What are the names of your pets?
Okay, you got it right. And simultaneously, all my teacher friends are also playing with me here. They can choose any word from the inside box, any WH question word, and from the outside box also, any WH question word they can, and then frame a question. So this is also a demonstration activity. So we can create a chart like this and keep it in the classroom. And I'm sure like our students, they like questions always. So many questions will be there in their mind and they just find the suitable time to ask the question. So I'm sure that everyone loved this game.
What's happening here? Looks like they are fighting, Pragna.
Do you think that they are fighting?
Here some spellings are wrong, I think. Can you help me to understand?
No, Sapna, I don't think that they are just different words. I don't see that there is a spelling mistake, or else I can say they are the different words. Is
Then,
it so?
yes, then what do we call for these words?
See here, the bear is saying, oh dear. And the deer is wearing something on his hands and it is saying, I'll fight you with my bare hands. Look at it. Isn't it funny?
Yes, it looks like funny.
So someone is answering here again. So I think all my friends have got it. These words are called homophones. Nowadays, we are very much familiar. I am very much familiar with this headphone, which you are looking on the screen. So now we'll see what are homophones. So homophones are the pair of words that sound the same but have distinctly different meaning and different spelling. Understanding homophones is an essential part of mastering English language, both for vocabulary building and for the spelling. In literature, homophones are used extensively in poetry and prose to make rhythmic effect and to put emphasis on something. They are also used to create multiple meanings. Just now we have seen here. So now let me tell you the history of homophone. Homo comes from a Latin word, homos, which means the same, the Greek word phone, which means the sound. Hence we have the word homophone. Let us see some of the examples here. We can see many examples in the chat box as well. So here one example is on the screen, that is bear, B-A-R-E, and B-E-A-R. So the first bear, B-A-R-E, is referring to the food. It is saying that there is nothing on the food, so bear food, and B-E-A-R is an animal. So likewise, deer. So someone is writing dear friend, and D-E-E-R. Let us have a few more examples. So hair, flower, and blue. These are also some of the examples, and many examples are in the chat box. So now,
Pragya, this is confusing, isn't it? There is a single word here, bark, and then there is a tree and a dog. What are these? I mean, what is this word anyway?
okay. So now, no doubt this is also homophone, but further we can categorize it as a homonym. So homonyms are the words which sound alike and spelt alike, but have different meaning in the different context. Like in the picture, so there is a dog, and the sound of the dog is also called bark, and the bark of the tree here, the trunk of the tree. So these words are called homonyms. So we'll see a few of the examples again. Bank. So we all have seen the bank. Bank is the place where we do all our financial transactions. And the river bank. So likewise, fly, seal, palm, and bat. So looking at the examples only, looking at the pictures, we can make out. So these are having two meanings here. Bat is an instrument to play with ball, and bat is a mammal, animal. So likewise, seal. And now we have an interesting question here. The king died dash. So the options are hairless, hairless, and again hairless. Though these are not the homophones, but I request everyone to see the spelling correctly, and then so everyone has answered here as option C, but I feel option B is the right one here. H-E-I-R-L-E-S-S. Hairless means without a successor. Here, as we talk about the king as a storyline, if we take it as a story, I can say the king died hairless. Means without having any successor, he died. Raja Varasudaranillade Satoda Anta. So on a funny note, it can be option C as well, hairless, Kudulillade Satoda Anta. But it will, on a funny note, it's fine. But when we say, like when we read some stories, and usually when there is a story of a king, we are feeling that option B will suit the correct one. We have one more classroom activity here on the homophones only. So here is a homophone crossword puzzle, and clues are given across and down. So now, for example, fourth clue, I am looking at the fourth clue, and she dash a letter to her mother. And the sixth one is 100%. So here the homophone pair I am getting is SENT send and CENT send. So likewise, you will find all the answers as a pair of homophone here. So let us have some fun with homophones now. So this activity also can be utilized in the classroom for the 6th and 7th graders.
Now give us an example.
Okay, you want me to give example? Okay, I will use the homophone pair 8. Okay.
8 as in ATE and EIGHT?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And one more homophone pair also I'll use. Maid, MAID and MADE. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Today my maid made idlis and I ate 8 of them.
Really? 8 idlis? Wait, Pragnya. Wait and watch your weight.
Don't be surprised. I ate button idlis, not the tatta idlis.
Okay. Can we move on?
Yes. Bare necessities. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget
Pragnya, please don't sing. Everybody will run. Okay, I know it's one of your favorites, but I think you should give everybody a break here and not sing. Okay, so these are the lyrics of a very famous song from the Jungle Book called The Bare Necessities. Now, why am I showing this to you? We want all of you teacher friends to look at this, the lyrics, the words of this song, and then we're going to ask you a very, very simple question. Don't worry, I'll bring the lyrics back. Let us look at the question first. You just read the lyrics of a popular song from the children's film, The Jungle Book. How many grammar concepts were you able to identify at a glance in the lyrics of the song? Is it A1? Is it B13? Is it C25? Or is it D30? Here are the words on your screen again. Please do look at it and see how many grammar concepts can you identify. So shall we look at the list that we tried to put together for this?
Yes.
So dear participants, these are some of the grammar concepts that were there in the lyrics of this song. This is something that we put together. I'm sure you would have found many, many more. And I'm sure others would have found still more. There were nouns, there were pronouns, there were contractions, verbs, homophones, of course, adjectives, punctuation marks, conjunctions, prepositions, so many more. The idea is, the reason we are doing this is, the idea is that you could actually take a popular poem with smaller children, with older children, the lyrics of a song, or a paragraph from a story, and you could have them identify grammar concepts. It is not necessary that they identify all the concepts at one go. You could ask them to identify one single concept. They could pick out only nouns, or they could pick out only adjectives, This is an idea for a classroom transaction. Which brings us to the last but not the least important question of the day. The focus of grammar instruction should always be in a direct teaching of rules. Do you agree or do you disagree?
The focus of the grammar instruction should not be a direct teaching of rules. Even I disagree.
Absolutely, Pragna. I also agree that, B is the best possible answer, because when you teach grammar, whether it's an adult or a child, directly teaching the rules brings up so many things, a lot of resistance, a lot of maybe understanding of the rules that is required. There are so many aspects that you need to be looking. Instead, one would be so much better off using an experiential method where the child maybe plays a game, looks at something and answers, using of imagery. There are so many methods that can be done for teaching the rules of grammar. Which brings us towards the end of today's session, dear teachers. Our journey so far today has been with present continuous tense, simple present tense, WH question words and questions, and of course, homophones. We hope all of you enjoyed this journey with us. Thank you. One other thing that I would like to tell all of you is, we at Caring with Colors have a lot of experiential learning lesson plans and activities for children uploaded on Teachopia, which is an app that we are going to be releasing soon, where you will have all the grammar concepts, the lessons, how to teach, experientially designed lesson plans for grades 4th to 7th, and aligned to the textbook, lessons from the textbook. Like we did today, we have WH questions for 4th, 6th, and 7th, aligned to household articles, king's ministers, avoid plastics. These are the chapter names from the textbook. And all of this content is available for you free of cost for use in your classrooms on Teachopia.
ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕೊನೆ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈಗ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ವಿಷಯದ ನೋಡಲ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಕಟ್ಲಿಂಗಪ್ಪ ಸರ್, ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರು, ಡಯಟ್ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ, ಇವರಿಂದ ವಂದನಾರ್ಪಣೆ.
ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮೊದಲು ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಂಥವರು ಸ್ವಪ್ನ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರಿಯಾ, ರಶ್ಮಿ ಮತ್ತು ಆಶಾ, ರಾಮ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾ, ಇವರು ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಉಪಯುಕ್ತವಾದಂತಹ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಸಂಭಾಷಣೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮೂಡಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಹಕರಿಸಿರುವಂತಹ ಬೆನ್ನೆಲುಬಾಗಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವಂತಹ ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್, ಡಯಟ್ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ, ಡಯಟ್ ತುಮಕೂರು, ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಂಬಲವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀ ವೈ ಎನ್ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಂಬಲಿಸಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ತುಮಕೂರು ಡಯಟಿನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಹಾಗೂ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಧುಗಿರಿ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ತುಮಕೂರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀ ನಂಜಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಗದ ನೌಕರ ಬಂಧುಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಪಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಉಪಯುಕ್ತತೆಯನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ತಮ್ಮ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕ ವರ್ಗದವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಪರವಾಗಿ, ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾಳೆ ದಿನ ತಪ್ಪದೆ ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಭಾವನೆಯಿಂದ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು, ವಂದನೆಗಳು. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.